Hey, Ag Teacher Thoughts here, coming at you with another video. We're going to look a little bit at some of our invasive species that we have here in North Idaho. And what I have next to me right now is actually one of the smaller specimens of this invasive species that I've seen around here. This is the Scotch Thistle Onopordum acanthium, so the Scotch cotton thistle. So the information I'm going to give you about this thistle today comes out of this book right here. This is by the Forest Health Technology Enterprise Team, and this is something that was created by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and a few other organizations. And this is to help us deal with exotic species all across our nation. And in particular, we're going to look at this one. And this one comes out of the volume called Biology and Biological Control of Exotic True Thistles. So it's just going to be dealing with the true thistles that we deal with here. And I'm going to show you a couple other plants that we call thistles that don't fall in the classification that's covered by this book. So this right here is our Scottish thistle, so Scottish cotton thistle. Out of this book, it is on page 28, and I'll read a little bit about it, and then we'll look at some of the other species or specimens that we have here and talk about some of the control that's been done to these and whether or not it's effective. So this one, the Scotch thistle, is native to the Mediterranean region of Europe and Western Asia. It was introduced to the United States in the 1800s. It's a biennial that occasionally grows as a short-lived perennial or even an annual. This species grows 7 to 8 feet tall. So this is a small specimen. I have seen them about 8 feet tall. We had some specimens down the road from us that were 8 feet tall when I cut them down, and I actually used a chainsaw to cut them down. So 7 to 8 feet tall and 4 foot wide on average, and reproduces only by seed. So this doesn't have rhizomes that go under the ground like Canadian thistle. Rosettes usually form in the spring and can grow on average to 3 feet in diameter. Autumn rains stimulate germination and rosette formation as well. Bolting occurs in early summer. Flowering occurs from July to October. These actually started flowering a while ago, so they actually start flowering in June here where we're located because we have a lot more heat units to our summer. So it gets warmer earlier. Like we had 100-degree temperatures a couple weeks ago. This is July 3rd. And so you can see some of these have already matured. I've got other specimens that around here that went to seed and were mowed down, and then they've regrown and are already flowering again. So if you've ever watched the movie Braveheart, you might have actually seen this thistle before. This, as noted in here, and also kind of because, you know, my Scottish background, this Scotch thistle is the national emblem of Scotland, and it is sometimes sold as an ornamental and has some medicinal and practical uses. So you're actually going to see this one, you're going to see it on Scottish emblems. I know this is actually the thistle that they shared when the main character in Braveheart shares with his betrothed. So you'll see it a lot. And this is another one of those thistles that is designed to transfer by wind. But if you look at the seeds, let's see if we can get in here. It's not super great at moving around by wind. You know, these do, they do have awns on them, and it can catch the wind, but it's going to take a lot of wind to actually move that around. This is more likely going to catch in the fur of an animal, just how it feels. Yeah, so that's the seed. It's the seed right there. Let me get that. Let me get a couple of specimens here. Yeah, there's the seeds. Yeah, the awn breaks off actually really easy. I guess they can grow. So there you go. There's the seed. So the seed's not quite a quarter inch. It's about an 1/8 inch across. We'll get a few more of these out of here. So there's your seeds. Well, I guess they can move in the wind, but not very well. So yeah, being the emblem of Scotland, you're going to see it in media, you're going to see it on imagery, but this is something that, for me, when I first moved in and I saw the Scottish thistle, I was kind of proud of it. I was like, yeah, symbol of Scotland. And then I realized how terrible of an invasive species these is, and kind of why we need to control it and get rid of it. These thorns are actually quite significant. They don't seem to have the same, bull thistles, which is another invasive species. Those are what I grew up with. And with those, when you got pricked by the thorn, it almost felt like there was a venom in there. And I haven't felt the same thing on this thistle. But it does have these little wings coming off the stem with all the thorns. This is not something that animals are going to readily eat. We may see some feeding of birds on these because the seeds, they do have some definite size to them and they're going to have some nutrition in there. But mainly, the only thing that's going to feed on it is going to be birds. I don't even think mice are going to be able to really get up there and harvest those seeds. I mean, they might, but I don't know on that. So let's read a little bit more about this thistle and tell you a little bit more about that. So the leaves are wider in the center than at the base and have a wavy tooth margin armed with sharp yellow spines. Upper and lower leaf surfaces are covered with a thick mat of woolly hairs and give the foliage a gray, green, or silvery appearance. Basal leaves can grow up to 2 feet long and 1 foot wide. Stem leaves are smaller than basal leaves and grow in an alternate pattern and extend onto the stems as wings. So there's the basal leaves down there. This specimen, they've already dried up. This one is, flowering and post-flowering, so it's getting ready to end. But these leaves can actually be quite significant. So it says 1 foot wide, which, yes, I've seen them 1 foot wide and 2 foot long, so they can be quite significant. And then the rest of the leaves, you can see how this one is alternate from this one and alternate from that one, and then we have the wings that go up the stem. So it is a well-defended plant and has a lot of surface area there to create energy and food, so it can grow quite well. Stems of the Scotch thistle are robust and have numerous branches covered in woolly hairs and have spiny wings extending their entire length. That's this right in through here, the entire length. There's not really a good place to grab those. Scotch thistle capitula are globe-shaped and grow to 2 inches in diameter. They are usually solitary or form small groups of 3 capitula at the ends of stems and branches. The receptacle is honeycombed within and has rows of long needle-like bracts tipped with orange-colored spines. A single capitulum can produce 150 pink or purple florets. It's going to be these little pieces right here. All florets are hermaphroditic, having both male and female reproductive parts. Achenes of Scotch thistle are 1/5 of an inch, 5 millimeters long, gray with dark mottling and attached to a brown-colored pappus of tooth bristles that can be twice as long as the seed. Capitula can produce over 100 achenes each. A mature plant produces 10,000 achenes on average. The roots. The root system consists of 1 large fleshy taproot. This plant does not reproduce vegetatively. Habitat and ecology. Scotch thistles grow best in light, well-drained, and sandy or stony soils. It readily invades dry pastures, fields, and rangeland, but is also found in waste places along rivers, streams, canals, and other waterways. Heavy disturbance increases infestation. This species is listed as noxious in 14 states: Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Idaho, Missouri, Nevada, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Oregon, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming. Approved biological control agents. There are currently no biological control agents approved for use against Scotch thistle. All right, so that's background that's coming out of this USDA book on the Scotch thistle and true thistle control. So with this, one of the things you need to note, if you are a property owner, this is something that you're either going to have to control early on with an herbicide, or something that you're going to have to go in and actually mechanically control. So if you're going to mechanically control it, you do want to get to it before it flowers. Once it flowers, that plant can contain enough energy in it to go ahead and still produce the seed, even after you've mechanically removed it. Some of that seed can remain dormant in the soil, giving you plants that come back year after year. So this is something that you really do need to get a hold of and a handle of when you have that in your landscape. But yeah, if you want to get this book, Biology and Biological Control of Exotic True Thistles, this is something that you should be able to get from your local extension office, or contact your local university that would run your extension office and provide that. So let's go around and we're going to look at a few other types of thistles that are here, other ones that cause some problems. And these are kind of neighboring thistles here. They're not classified as true thistles in this book, but they're ones that we might call a thistle commonly. So this is one of our thistles that this one is getting a lot of traction on the internet now. People are using this as a pain control agent. I'm not going to comment on that part because I'm not a biologist and I'm not an herbalist, but this is prickly lettuce. And prickly lettuce has leaves that are vaguely thistle shaped. There are spines on the backside of that margin of that leaf, or on the center of that leaf. The veins are in a breaking pattern, and this one does have a milky white sap on it when broken. This has not yet begun to bloom. It is something that we will actually be eliminating later today. So that is prickly lettuce. Another one that we have intertwined in here is actually sow thistle. This one, you can see the leaves are not straight or aligned. There's actually a change in there. The stem on this one is hollow. Let's see if we can get a sow thistle out. So that's the base of the leaves there. You can see they're offset. This is a hollow stem. This one's already gone to seed. Its seed pods are a little kind of pointy, almost acorn shape, whereas the prickly lettuce are not. So here's a couple of varieties of thistle that are our alleyway here. We're in the middle of kind of controlling those. We finally got a break where we can get to that. But let's go take a look at some mechanical control that was done on a neighboring property that wasn't as good as it could be. So let's go look at that and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. Just when you think you're done identifying thistles that we're having issues with here, this is yellow star thistle. This is one that has been a problem here in Idaho, kind of all of Idaho from way down south to way up north. This is one that more than a decade ago they started a whole control program on that, and I've got a whole booklet just on yellow star thistle that we can talk about. Pretty much now it's just a part of the landscape. Getting rid of this one's really kind of tough. There's a bunch of it that is started in here. This is on the public easement, so it's not on my property. So it's not something I'm going to be working to control, but it is definitely something that we will cover later on. Hopefully this doesn't get trampled tonight or tomorrow night when the 4th is about and this area gets covered in cars for people watching the fireworks. Not far away from that yellow star thistle is this one, which is a bull thistle. And this is another one of the true thistles. This is actually a fairly small specimen of this. Where I grew up, the bull thistle was 4 to 5 feet tall. And this is another one that you got to kind of physically remove. So you got to get that tap root out. So there you go. There's a whole bunch of thistle varieties that we have here in North Idaho. And unfortunately, a lot of them are not native. And you can see in this property behind me, there is some yellow star thistle right in there. And then these are Scotch thistles that have regrown after mechanical removal. So they went through here with a brush hog and mowed all of those down. Oh, it's been month and a half or more since they did that, and as you can see, they've kind of all regrown. So to really eliminate this, they're going to have to go through and mow it again, something I unfortunately don't think will be done, as this is a property that's only maintained about once a year. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about the Scotch thistle, which is one of our invasive species here in North Idaho. And maybe there's a little bit that now you can recognize that and realize that that is a thistle species that you should be removing from your property. So anyway, if you have questions about controlling exotic thistle species in your property, you can go ahead and contact your local extension office, and they'll get you that booklet that I showed that can tell you how to remove those plants and best ways to control them. Now, there are a whole series of these books for different invasive species and weeds that are in our country, and this is part of what your taxpayer dollars go to create and research. So please pick one up, use it, and use that knowledge that you gain to control invasive species, to bring our environment back in line to where it needed to be when we still had our native flora and fauna about. Anyway, I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.